All right, so we are reviewing for Chapter 4 test next week. You can use this to study for your test on Wednesday, but you can also use it to study for your quiz on Monday. All right, so Monday quizzes, I think we would agree, are a little goofy because it's been the weekend. So it's a good idea to watch this maybe late Sunday. All right, just as a really quick review. I do want you guys keeping track of the questions you get right. Just tally it up on the top of your boards. One-step equations. All right, so the quiz and the test start off pretty simple. All right, in just solving 1- and 2-step equations. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so my inverse operations rule says if there's division connected to the fraction, all right, or to the variable, I need to do the inverse operation. I need to multiply both sides by -4, and my answer is -48. How can I be sure that this is my answer?
You put it back in.
Plug it back in. -48 divided by -4 is +12. This is something that you can do even using mental math or your calculators, not something you will have to show on your quiz and your test. Okay, 2-step equations. I've included 2 equations in this slide because I want to make sure that we're covering basically what we call the common mistakes that we see in this type of a section. Okay, so I'm trying to give you guys problems where we see common mistakes happening. First equation, what do I do first? Just tell me. Okay, subtract 15 from both sides. 65 minus 15 is 50. All right, so walking around and looking at your boards, it looks like you guys are showing your steps really well because the work is important and you will lose points on your quiz and your test if you're not showing your work. Okay, so inverse operations is important, again, so we can learn the process. -10 is our answer on the first equation. All right, on the second one, we distribute. What does that mean? That means that I cannot add x plus 2 together inside the parentheses. They are not like terms, but what I can do is multiply the term on the outside of the parentheses by every term inside the parentheses. Guys, this is multiplication. This is not addition. Okay, so 2 times x is
2x.
2x. 2 times 2 is 4. Now what do I do?
Subtract 4.
And then 2x equals 6, and then what do I do?
Divide by 2.
Good job, guys, both sides. And who got both of these right? Anybody get both right? Okay, so guys, we are a good way into your quiz and your test now. All right, so you did very well in the equations part. Now, for some reason, this clearing fractions concept still gives us a little bit of trouble. Okay, so we're going to cover one of these. Remember, we clear fractions using what? What do we clear using? LCD. We clear using LCD. Okay, so go ahead and find your LCD and clear your fractions. So LCD is 6, so I need to multiply each fraction by 6. Did you do that? Okay, so when I multiply each fraction by 6, the first one, oh goodness, I forgot about this. Okay, the first one I multiply by 6. Second one I multiply by 6. And the third one I multiply by 6. Just this whole concept of practicing clearing the fractions. So my 6's cancel and all I have is x. My 2 and my 6 cancel, but what does the 6 become now?
3.
3, and 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so I got a +9. And same thing happens on the other side. It becomes a 9. Okay, so what do I do now to both sides? Subtract 9, and it just so happens to be 0. All right, now there could be another answer, and that would work, okay? But we just follow the steps. We follow LCD. All right, now the next one, you need to choose what? A value that represents the situation. Did I say to write an inequality? No, so we're not writing inequalities here. We're just choosing a value that would represent the situation. Go ahead and do both of these. We can choose any value that goes up to 30,000. Technically, at most, means less than or equal to. So technically it could also be 30,000. We could get really close, couldn't we? 29,999, as long as it doesn't go over 30,000. Please stop talking. Okay? Now, no more than 50 pounds, so give me some values. Now, 20, 39, 45. Okay? It cannot be more than 50. All right, now in the next one, I'm solving inequalities, okay? So it's very important, especially when we're graphing the solution, that we read the variable first in our solution so we can get the arrow drawn in the correct direction. So I know that you could solve this in your head using mental math, but it's very important that you still show your work, okay? So again, it's that whole concept of practicing the steps so we understand the process of how to get to our answer. All right, so show your work, show your answer, box it in, and then go ahead and graph the solution. All right, and we're working this problem right here. 15 is greater than x plus 3. Okay, what do I do to both sides? Subtract 3 both sides. Now, it's very important that you read the variable first in your answer. This is saying that in order to make the inequality true, the value for x must be less than 12. Okay, so any value, but it has to be less than 12. I show that on a graph with an open dot and my arrow going left. That's why it's so important that you read the variable first. So important that you read the variable first. All right, multiplication and division. Again, I'm trying to highlight some of the common mistakes that I see. A problem like this first one, I saw a pretty common mistake across the board on our mid-unit quiz on Wednesday. Okay, so I'm hoping to address that and for more people, if not everybody, to get it right on your quiz on Monday. I do to both sides on the first one.
Divide.
Yes, divide both sides by -6. And what do we get for our solution?
X is less than -5.
Okay, I heard less than or equal to, but I thought I had a greater than or equal to symbol.
That's a negative.
Very good. Anytime I divide by a negative value, I must reverse my inequality. So my rule says if there is a negative connected to the variable by multiplication or division, do addition and subtraction count? No, it's only multiplication and division. I must reverse my inequality and then I can do my answer. Okay, so on this problem on your test, if you forget to switch it, not only is your answer wrong, but what else is going to be wrong? Your graph. So you're going to lose all the points if you forget to switch it. All right, on the second problem, what do I do to both sides? Multiply by 4, open or close dot? Okay, it is going to be open, okay, and then open dot and arrow going to the left. All right, so that's multiplication and division. All right, now let's solve a two-step inequality. Again, I'm trying to address these common mistakes. All right, so hopefully we can kind of work through some of those questions. Go ahead and solve this. If you have time, you can go ahead and graph it. I'm going to walk around real quick and kind of check your work. Okay, guys, -3 times x is -3x. -6 is less than or equal to 15. All right, now what do I do? Add 6 to both sides. -3x is less than or equal to 21. What do I divide by?
-3.
-3. And what is my answer?
X is greater than x is
Okay.
7.
So now, again, I'm hearing this greater than. Why did you switch it?
Because there's a negative in the
Okay.
first number.
Because, and guys, I need to clarify this, because the negative is connected to the variable. So if 21 had been negative, I don't switch it, okay? I only switch it when the negative's connected to the variable. All right? Okay, writing inequalities from a graph. So here is what's important. I think there was a little bit of confusion on the quiz. This cannot be that you're just writing the solution in an inequality. It has to have an operation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, where the answer will be whatever is graphed on the number line, okay, where the answer is going to be that point. So looking around, I see a lot of people attaching a negative number to the variable, and the reason you're doing that is because you need to end up with a negative answer. But we need to talk about this. If you're going to say negative 3x, then you have to start out with an inequality that is opposite the one that's graphed. So it needs to say greater than or equal to 3. So when you divide by a negative and you switch it, now it reflects the graph, okay? So that's fine, but you don't have to do that. You could just say x plus 6 is less than or equal to what number would need to go on the other side to make it negative 1?
7. Negative 7.
It needs to be negative 1. 5. Subtract 6 from both sides, and what's 5 minus 6? X is less than or equal to negative 1. So there's a lot of ways I can write my inequality, but again, the solution needs to be what is graphed there. Okay, it's got to have an operation in there. Okay, we don't have a ton of time left, so let's just do one of these. Okay, sorry. Let's do one of these. I want to be able to spend a little more time on your word problem. Let's just do the first one. Write the inequality and solve it. You don't have to graph it. So let's say the inequality together. N plus 2.5 is greater than or equal to 9. What do I do to both sides? Minus 2.5. What's 9 minus 2.5?
6.5.
Okay. 6.5, and then again, you do not have to graph it. Okay? All right. You have a word problem. All right, so it says you have $63.50. You earn additional money by raking leaves. Then you purchase a sweatshirt for $44.99 and have $53.51 left. This was on your last test. Remember, you have to show an equation. So even on the last test, I still had people making mistakes on the equation. So we're going to review this, all right, and then hopefully clear up questions on it. But you have to have an equation to get full credit. If you have only the math part of it, meaning you just added and subtracted, like over on the side, you can get half credit, but you're not going to get full credit. $63.50 plus what? X, S, R, L, whatever variable you want to use. I did M for money. Minus $44.99. Why did I minus it? Because I spent it. All right, so that's negative, equals $53.51. What do I do now? What's $63.50 minus $44.99?
$18.51.
Okay, so M plus $18.51 equals $53.51. Now what do I do? Subtract it from both sides.
Yeah.
And what do you get?
$35.
Okay, so that's how much you made. Hold on, I'm not done. Okay, this is everything you need to know for your test, but do you want a hint as to what your bonus might be?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, this is a helpful problem to know how to solve. All right, there's a lot going on here. What do you think you're going to do first? Combine like terms on each side of the symbol. Okay? Do not start moving your terms until you combine all of your like terms on the left and on the right. If it's bonus, it's going to be a challenge for you, but this is not impossible to solve. Okay, I just need to give you some helpful tips. All right, what is negative 2x plus 6x? 4x plus 12 is greater than or equal to. So now I simplified this as much as I could. Now, what is 16 plus 4? 20 minus 6x, okay? So here's what you need to decide. You need to get the x on one side of the inequality. Technically, it doesn't matter if you want to subtract 4x or if you want to add 6x. For me, I like the variable to be in front of the inequality, right? So I don't have to read it backwards. So add 6x to both sides, okay? All right, so now what's 4x plus 6x? 10x plus 12 is greater than or equal to 20. And now you're on the home stretch. What do you do next? Subtract 12. Okay, it's okay that this is not going to be an even whole number. 10x is greater than or equal to 8. And now what do I do to both sides? Divide by 10, divide by 10, and x is greater than or equal to 4/5. Okay, so one challenge here is to get your variables on one side. It does not matter which one you move. Okay, and then you should be on the home stretch from there. If you understand that, that's everything you need to know for your test.